Welcome to Hybird Haze Podcast with Mel and Frank. They specialize in health wellness, vegan life, urban farming, and cannabis. They are the creators of Modern Needs Apothecary and creators of Jack's Recovery Gel that has twice won Best Pain Topical at the New Mexico Growers Cup in 2019 and 2021. This podcast will give you insight with industry leaders surrounding cutting-edge topics regarding all things green. And now, here are your hosts, Mel and Frank.
Welcome guys, this is Hybird Haze. This is going to be the 4th episode. Thank you for joining us again. My name is Frank, this is Mel. We've got some very special guests today.
And first off, what do? All things green.
All things green.
And thank you to Abel, our producer from Dialogue EP. We appreciate you, Abel, everything you do for us. So we are here to capture some of our friends and their stories and why they have their businesses and what caused them to create this amazing products that they actually create. One is, the drum roll. We'll just have them introduce themselves. So this is guest number 1, Josh from EP Freeze. Freeze Dried Company. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired right now. Anyhow, and this is Marco from Klevr Tea.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first? We want to ask first off.
H before beauty.
H before beauty. You know, I mean, that was
pretty quick.
So my name is Josh. I am the founder of El Paso Freeze Dried Food Company. We're the first ones to make these dehydrated snacks here in El Paso.
So delicious, by the way.
Pretty much using food science to create new products that literally no one's ever made before, and trying to build upon that and start other humanitarian stuff with a more kind of a agricultural kind of food science twist. And so that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I do.
Yeah, you know, it's really odd. I didn't know until you just brought it to our attention that I didn't realize that because of your company, that your passion is actually food science and you wanted to do like food consulting. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I studied food science, so I'm a food scientist, super geeky, love all that stuff.
Sweet.
And I don't have a business. I mean, I don't come from a business background, but this is why I got into business, to learn stuff about it, but with a food science focus. Exactly. And I eventually want to take everything I've learned so far and apply it to ongoing humanitarian crisis, food crises around the world.
That's really cool. And you know, the reason we have Josh and Marco is because we met at the farmer's market, and because Frank likes to have his little farm and we do a little, farming of our own. And that's when we became friends with Josh and Marco, and we really believe in the products that they sell. And these two happen to create a ruckus at the farmers markets where you can find them. And they also have a location at 300 North Copia in El Paso, Texas. But we wanted to get down to the nitty gritty as to why initially you wanted to actually partake into creating freeze-dried foods to have local for your community. Why was that, Josh?
Pretty much, I was working as a Peace Corps volunteer in Ethiopia, and I was doing humanitarian work in Africa. And that experience of just seeing unequal, like, inequality, people being limited by economic or environmental or political instability, it's disheartening, it's frightening, it's scary, and I wanted to do something about it. And I wanted to actually create change, but that's actually sustainable and can actually be long-lasting. And for me, the way to do it is to have a science focus, but also a business focus of some kind. And since I don't have a business background, I figured, okay, well, let me start a business that's in food science, 'cause that's what I know, and I'll learn the business stuff with one day going back out there and starting like grassroots agricultural and food science projects that can be profitable and actually change people's lives.
Right. I remember when we first met you, we came across you at a little pop-up that we did at the Gold's Gym. Do you recall that when we first met you?
Oh,
and I remember you went over, you said, you want to try some of my freeze-dried strawberries? And I thought, what's freeze-dried strawberries? Like, I had never really thought about that. And when I tasted them, I'm like, wow, it's just like this lasting tingling effect with the fruit itself. And
it just pops out.
It really does. And
As soon
it's
as
so
it absorbs
flavorful.
or gets some of the saliva, the flavor just kicks in. And I
It
remember,
explodes.
It does
It does.
explode.
and what you know what? Actually, on top of that story, I had your I think it was the jalapenos too, and the beans. I
Yeah.
was like,
The
I didn't know you could
beans.
It was
dehydrate beans or jalapenos. I'm like, what? And
They're
I'll tell you
so
what,
good.
No.
same thing, flavor, explosion. But you know what? If you're gonna have the jalapeno, it's an explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, so Marco and Josh decided to, they obviously met at the farmers market, am I correct?
Yeah.
And now they are business partners in their location. So they have Klevr Tea, they have their freeze-dried foods, and it's just very interesting to have such a unique dynamic relationship between the two of them. And now they're business partners, they're friends, and they're friends of ours. And so that's one of the reasons we wanted to bring them on, because they believe in more or less pretty much the same belief systems when it comes to being green and having something healthy,
Well, it works
Sustainable.
because we're kind of opposites.
right?
Where he's more like the sciencey, and I'm more like the sales business
Right.
guy.
Oh, we love your
But
sales
we
tactic,
complement
by the
each
way.
other well. Cause I'm like, hey, dude, so what do you think about this? Because I'm learning about science because I have to, make my stuff.
Right.
He's right here, so
Yeah.
I ask him. He's like,
Right.
I know you do this. This is what happens. This is what happens. I'm like, okay. But then he'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? Like he'll come with all his post-it notes. Hey, that's his balance
So
sheet.
that's
He's
the
a statement.
secret.
And
The
he comes
secret
in
is
and like,
post-it
Marco,
notes.
so can I do this as a cost? I'm like, no, but you can do this and this. So we like help each other out, and it just works really well. Because we like, whatever someone's weak at, the other one's strong, so we kind of like go forward.
Yeah.
And on that note, so I know we touched a little bit on the reason why Josh decided to start his company. What made you decide your Klevr Tea company? Mind you, it's very enlightening and it has such a great flavor. And I remember I met you and I first remember you coming out with your little hat. I wanted you to wear it today, but you didn't.
There's no sun.
Would you like to try some of my tea? And I'm like, tea? And I drank it, I'm like, wow. And it just really just gave me that little burst of like enlightenment and just clarity at the market, which really helped, by the way. So
And it's a clean flavor too.
Yeah.
And you actually get all the flavors. And I remember too when I saw you. And this is one thing for you guys out there doing business. You can show the difference of your product. He had one side like all the ingredients, and they were just like whole. It's
Right.
whole flour, whatever, pineapple, everything all together, the whole thing. And then of course you have his competitor, and it's just ground up stuff. I mean, I don't know. Who knows what it tastes like too? But is it? I don't
It's
know.
all about presentation.
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
did you create your company?
I was working in Odessa, the oil fields, and it's a very high pressure environment, and I like that tempo because everybody's there to get it. They're working 12, 13, 14, 20-hour shifts, and it's a lot of pressure, so I wanted to keep up, and I wanted something that could help me, like give an edge that was natural. I couldn't find anything that I liked, so I decided to make my own. And I started looking, so where does tea come from? Because I knew nothing about tea. Nothing. So I was like, where does tea come from? China. So I found a supplier in China. And they wanted to sell me a ton of tea. Like a little ton of tea. And I'm like, where the hell am I going to put it? That's a lot of tea.
That's a lot of tea.
So I was like, yo, forget you Chinese, man. Let me find someone else. So
Yeah.
I found someone in Canada, but I was too small for the supplier for me to buy anything.
Oh
So
wow.
I was like, no.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
So then I found another one in LA, super nice lady, and she wanted to help me out. The issue was she wanted to sell me just like a regular bag, kind of like the ones that are behind you, Frank, like those.
Yes, right here.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So she wanted to sell me that. So this for $20.
Wow.
Yeah, with just like my sticker and then just bags like these and that was it. So I was like, how am I gonna make money?
Exactly. Where's the profit margin?
Am I gonna sell it for $30, $50? You're not gonna buy it.
Yeah, no one's gonna buy this.
So then luckily I went on Google and then I found Supply in Mexico. And they were the ones that kind of helped me out. But they wanted to see if I was serious. So they're like, you need to buy our product. So I bought $200 worth of tea. That's a lot of tea. That was
That's
a
a lot of
shitload of
tea.
tea. But it was good because I learned about it. Because they had white tea, it had yellow tea, it had green tea, it had black tea, it had oolong tea, pu'er tea, a whole bunch of teas. Like, I thought tea was just a thing you would eat with your barbecue. But it was a lot more than that, you know? It was
Wow.
like so nuanced. So then I bought it, I liked it, and then I started working on it. And then the first one I made, it tasted like grass soup.
Really?
Yeah, because I researched the ingredients that would help your head. Because I wanted something that would give you like a a boost,
Yeah.
but help you focus, no jitters. And it was oolong tea, eucalyptus, cinnamon, and hawthornberry, but it was super earthy. So before I went forward, I was like, I researched like, what are the main reasons why people drink tea? And number one is taste. So it doesn't matter how good the shit is. If it tastes shitty, no one's gonna buy it.
no one's gonna buy it.
So then, the company I work with, they have a sommelier. They have, these people have really refined palates. There's some for wine, for whiskeys, for tea, and they can taste the nuances of whatever they're making.
Sommeliers.
Sommeliers.
Mhm.
Sorry, sommeliers. Alright. Whatever Mel said, that's what it's
Talking about, you're
Right.
an apothecary here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she helps with the blends, but she gets it. Like I'll tell her what I want to accomplish, and she'll combine the stuff. But some stuff doesn't go well together.
Mhm.
So she still gets what I want, sends it to me. I try it, and then so before you give me too much credit on the taste, it's mostly her. Like I have like 3 scientists I work with, so the product is like top.
That's awesome.
But
But ultimately, it came down to taste and what you liked.
Exactly.
Because you have to like what you're selling, right?
Right. Mhm.
So even though you're giving the credit to the scientist, ultimately it was your palate that said yes to this specific flavor.
Sure.
So technically, it's still yours.
Yeah.
Okay. They help them. They do help a lot. They do help a lot. But yeah, I did that, and then the idea was this was going to be an online company. I was going to make a website, do the ads, I was going to sell. I made the website, I did the ads, no one bought shit. I was like, fuck. So then I was running, and then I just got an ad from this market, 915 pop-up, do a farmer market as a vendor. And I was like, that's a good idea. So then I messaged her, I was like, what do I need? She told me you just need to put the sticker that you're under the college law or whatever. And I did it, and I bottled the stuff because I wanted people to try it, and people liked it.
Wow.
I was like, wow,
Yeah, we like it.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks to the love I got from the community, and they also like helped me create the other 2 blends. So I have 3, and then it's growing. And,
So your original blend, what is your original blend?
it has, I will show you.
Yes.
It's oolong tea with coconut, pineapple, hibiscus, eucalyptus, hawthornberry, and cinnamon. Yeah, pretty good. It's like fresh, tropical. It's caffeinated, but it has soothing properties like L-theanine. L-theanine, they'll put it like in pill form because it's soothing. But since it's naturally occurring in tea, they give you a balance of energy with no jitters. So
Oh wow.
it's
Oh, and just a disclaimer, I'm sure you all heard that little, noise in the background. So we're on site at their actual
Yeah.
location, so you'll hear like the train going by, and so they wanted to make sure that we wanted to come here and give a backdrop of their wonderful products. So I'm sure you're gonna be like, what was that noise? That was a train going by. But
Oh, and those are for sale. Josh wants you all to know that, although they look weird, they are for sale, okay?
Yep. A lot of freeze-dried stuff. A lot of freeze-dried.
yeah, and so another reason we wanted to have you here is because, we met at the farmers market. We actually met you at the Country Club Farmers Market,
Yes.
from I believe, and that's where we're at. And so, because we do all things green, and the fact that he's doing teas and Josh is doing humanitarian issues. I mean, basically, I didn't even know that you guys got together until like last year that you're going to form a business. And I was just like, I guess it does fit. I mean, ultimately it does fit because you're having tea, you're having your freeze-dried goods. I mean, you both create a frenzy when you go to the market. A lot of people are following you. People have got to know who you are. They look for your products, which is very, very important because they've got to know the quality of your products, which is very distinctive compared to like regular, I guess, shop products at big, corporational stores. And so we appreciate that. And thank you so much for having us here and talking with you and describing what you do. What do you find will be your projections as business partners moving forward for your products and as business entrepreneurs?
Or just the future in general. Who knows what your plans are?
So definitely, exactly. We met at the farmers market, and I actually reached out to Marco and I said, "Hey, man, would you mind moving in with me?" Because being in business, like I said, I'm more a food scientist. But being in business, I've learned that it's very difficult. It's very demanding. It's very intense. So I'm always looking to optimize and make things easier.
And rent is expensive.
And rent is expensive.
We know that
Yes,
for
we know
fact.
that
Yes.
too.
And
Yes.
honestly, what really matters is really like these bouncing of ideas, sharing the same space, and just like asking questions and kind of bouncing ideas off each other. And at the same time, it's better for both our businesses. Now he has a commercial kitchen, and now he can do things that can elevate his business. And so it's awesome to like help other people, but it's a mutually beneficial relationship. And like I said, we have different we share some personalities, but we also are distinct in some ways, and that helps. That helps with the ideas. I'm like a scientist. I'm very crude. He's more of like he's got a good sharp eye, and so it's cool to like, hey, does this look good? Kind of questions. So it's cool to just be part of that ecosystem, helping other like-minded individuals, entrepreneurs. I love that part the most. For the future, for myself, what I really want to do is transition away from food manufacturing. Like I'm actually right now trying to sell my business entirely and move. Yeah, so I'm trying to sell my business.
Yes.
You can be the owner of, or owners of a Paso Freeze Dry.
The only one.
And you have to work with Marco.
You don't want to do that.
And yeah, the plan is to move away from food manufacturing to doing food science consulting, so that I can finance my own little small projects and build like little gardens, water wells, nutrition projects in developing countries, places I've been to and worked in. And that's what I really want to do, help bring people out of abject poverty and show people through science, through food science, that their lives can change, like through the better, help the environment, help them, help create new jobs, help fix the problems in our society.
That's really
So that's what I'm trying to do.
That's very
That's really good.
noble of you to be wanting to do that, because that takes a lot.
Takes a
a lot
lot.
of sacrifice on a personal level to just give so much of yourself to want to help others. That's very commendable.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I didn't even know that until right now. I might kind of taken over. Usually Frank's always talking, but for some reason, I guess I was talking a lot myself.
No, that's okay. I was actually gonna ask him because, like, as part of like the humanitarian aspect too, I wanted to tell him, just being the scientist that he is, food scientist. There was a couple of things that we were talking like off camera about the moringa.
Moringa.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh, that was very
let us know about
interesting.
that. That was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know. Did you know about that?
So,
Oh yeah, you're with him, of course. Yeah.
yeah, I always tell them.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
I'm gonna step out for that.
Yeah, let me just step away. Okay, so back to moringa.
So the moringa thing, yeah, like when I was in Ethiopia, I got placed in the part of the country of Ethiopia, in southern Ethiopia,
Mhm.
that for thousands of years, since the time of the ancient pharaohs, thousands of years ago, Ethiopians have been cultivating and eating this local tree called moringa, but it's an Ethiopian variety of moringa, and it's like a humanitarian's best friend because it can grow in semi-arid conditions. Like we're having rain is becoming more scarce. Things are getting more dry. So plants that can adapt to those conditions, that's what we need. So this plant can grow super fast. It can grow in a super hot, dry climate, and it has nutritional properties that are super rare, ultra rare. It has all the essential amino acids, which in a plant it's very hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has high amounts of iron, high amounts of calcium, and those three things are very hard nutrients to come by in people who are living in developing countries. Protein's hard to find. Women with anemia, people with calcium issues. Calcium issues, osteoporosis. Women. These are things that
Super
affect
important.
billions of people, a lot of people. And so the plan is to prop up this grassroots, almost like a food processing company. Like I want to go back there and start like a food processing company to make higher value products from moringa, because it doesn't exist yet. But it can, and it has so much potential to help people. And I mean, you can take the seeds and make like water not purifying, but you can make potable water. So it has.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Describe
Yeah.
for people that don't know. Describe what potable water is, because like when you were describing it, I was thinking one way it completely purifies. It doesn't really, right? So explain what that is.
Right, so this is probably the most awesome part and probably the most sought after property of it. So the moringa seeds, if you dry them and crush them and make them to a powder, and you have this dirty, turbid, disgusting water, you put that powder in it, it'll the chemical properties in it, it'll separate, so all the sediment, all of the different silts, all the bacteria will go to the bottom, and you'll have this huge, you have the big old thing of dirty water, you have a tiny little layer of disgusting stuff, and then like a whole bunch of potable water, and that potable water you can boil, and you can purify other, but that's so much easier than.
So once you do this, you boil it, then you can drink it.
Yes.
Oh.
But that saves so much in the food and the water.
But everybody has fire in like a pan, so
But
it's
yeah.
easy
Yeah.
to
That's easier, exactly.
Right.
But it's a pain to filter water, to fill out the sediment, to fill out all the
Right.
gunk.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
really hard to do. So for a plant that just naturally does it,
That's very cool.
it's crazy.
And the moringa, I mean, do you recommend to drink the moringa, to cook with the moringa, or what's the
How do-
healthy?
yeah,
How do you
how do you
actually obtain
utilize
the
it?
moringa into your body?
There's a couple ways, yeah. So it's a tree, and in the trees it has a bunch of these leaves. So these leaves you can cook like spinach. So you take out the leaves, you separate from the branches, and you boil it just like spinach, and it's delicious. It was one of my favorite foods in Ethiopia. Super delicious.
I'm just gonna have to take your word for it. Dang it.
It also has.
So is it like collard greens?
But
It's
you
kinda
have a
like
package, right?
Yeah, actually I do. So this right here is moringa. This is actually moringa oleifera, which is the Indian variety, not the Ethiopian variety, but this is pretty much a smaller version of the Ethiopian variety. And you can find moringa powder in other stores and stuff, but you can make it into porridge, you can make it like spinach, you can actually drink it, the tea, they have on the tree, it has flowers, and those flowers you can make into tea.
I
didn't
know
even know that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes pods, so it has to have a flower to make the pods. So
Exactly.
I
And
guess,
you
I
can-
guess it makes sense.
And you
yeah.
can eat the pods too. Everything's really delicious.
Oh my god. That's
And
good.
so I have a question. So being that you're the tea guy and you're the freezer guy, have you guys thought about making a tea for
with moringa.
collaborative or something?
Or is it against the
wow,
moringa idea?
I know. Is it like,
Uh-oh.
what is that?
Uh-oh.
Against what?
I'm just kidding.
Is it against what?
Like moringa, like implementing moringa into the
Into
tea.
your teas.
Or would it be beneficial?
Or you can make it like an iron blend.
Well, right now, okay, so right now the
Or a
focus,
cellular blend.
the focus is because although we do work at the same space, like
It's kind of separate.
our trajectories are different.
Okay.
Like he's trying to sell the business one, but then do the whole thing with Ethiopia, and I'm trying to grow mine and expand the clever word to the word.
And be a
Oh,
franchise.
that's right. So talk about that
Franchise.
subject. You were wanting to get some investors, right,
No,
for your
I
company.
control everything.
Yes, you control it. But you're looking for investors.
Yeah, so
mean,
I did crowdfunding campaign through Honeycomb, and it was pretty successful. I was asking for $15,000. It's a loan, at most 20, and we hit 20 in 19 days.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, people.
Wow.
That's really good.
That's
And
really good.
that money, I actually before we were talking, they were talking. Then I kind of got my phone because I was excited. The Chinese lady Kathy told me that the bottles I bought with that money just arrived in LA, so they should be here pretty soon. And those bottles are the ones that I want to use because they're better built because they're more. They can withstand hotter filling temperature,
Mm-hmm.
meaning it reduces the handling of the stuff because when I'm gonna get a little sciencey,
Go
I'm
for
gonna
it.
step on it.
It's all you. It's all you.
I know.
So the
That's
bottles,
right.
so these bottles, since they're PET plastic, they can only withstand a pressure of 160 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
So when I boil the tea, I need to hit since the elevation here is higher, I only need to hit 208, not 212. Once it hits, all the bacteria in the water dies. Anything that's in there is dead. So, but this can withstand that. It'll melt or it'll bend or something. So I need to wait until it hits 160, then I'll fill it. So I have to wait time for that to cool. So I have to get these other ones that are better and they can withstand it. So once it's done brewing, I can just put it in my machine and they start filling and I can be faster. Less handling, so it's a safer process, it's a faster process. So my goal is to expand but using these 3 products because the more products I add, the harder the logistics get because now I have to source more product. I have to think of a new packaging because I don't like just making stuff out of the blue because each one The original one had 5 versions. The Kawa one had 4. The Yerba was a little easier. I only had 2 because I want each one to be good and I want it to work. So I would love to make a moringa tea one day, but I would
Just
have, but I would have to make sure that the 3 products I have right now are everything's good. Like the bottles are right, the boxes are correct, everything's perfect. So now I can focus on something else and make like a new line. And I need more help because it's just me.
Right.
So it's like I would love to have 100 products, but it's all I'm still have to take it step by step. You know?
Right.
So right now the goal is to expand to bigger cities because I see a problem. The problem is people are still beverages still have too much sugar.
Just
So the American Heart Association recommends that women consume like 26 milligrams of sugar, added sugar a day, men 36. Your leading soda brand in the red can has 39 grams.
Oh, that's a lot.
So that's you just hit your limit with one little can. My bottles don't have anything. It's a monk fruit. Monk fruit is just a fruit that happens to be 300 times sweeter than sugar. And actually, I also formed part of this program. Josh was actually part of this program too. It's called the NMSU Sprint, and NMSU gets local entrepreneurs into this accelerator type thing, and they like give you some funding, and then they also connect you with a bunch of advisors. And I was talking to this guy, Todd Abraham, and Josh talked to him. He used to work for Mondelez, for P&G, so, and he's a PhD and an MBA. And I asked him, hey, do you see any issues with monk fruit? He's like, is there any problems with you eating oranges? I was like, no, yeah, it's a fruit. It's fine, dude. And I was like, okay. So like, it's cool that there's sweet or stuff like that, or alternatives that will do the job, because we still want something sweet, but that has no negative effects on us. So I want to do this because I want to give people a different way of drinking something that's good, because people think that tea is just this thing you eat with barbecue when it's not. It's like something that can nourish you. Like I got studies on these made recently. So the oolong, the bottle has 231 polyphenols. Polyphenols are just really strong antioxidants that cancel out free radicals in your body. They also have over 200 amino acids each bottle. So, and sugar free, and they taste pretty good. So I'm making all these beneficial things because I want people to be nourished. Because we have to drink. Like the best way to get someone to consume something is probably drinking. Only because it's just you just open it and then you just do this.
Oh, we love the fact that you're at the market. So you're just like, would you like to try some tea? It's just like this distraction.
I'm also very annoying. I
He's
ask
not.
everybody.
He's entertaining.
That's a nice way of putting it. Okay.
So a question. So you do have a location here, and you do certain pop-ups. The two of you, we do pop-ups as well. And the fact that we do run across each other at certain venues around town. I mean, ultimately, I know you're trying to sell your business, and projectively, I'm sure you would hope that both your products could be into big store locations, inevitably in the future. And you'd like to look back and be like, I know you want to sell your business and say, you know what, you happen to come into the States and you walk into a major store and you're like, oh my gosh, my product is there, right? That would be amazing. And I know that's what you'd like to do is have your product into a location as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I see. So you guys are taking those steps moving forward. You are. You're trying to get your business sold and do food consultation. But if you leave and you sell your business, you want people to be able to reach you and ask you to say, hey, how do I get a freeze-dried business started? Are you going to be able to? Are you formalizing another type of business for yourself in that venue?
I am. The awesome thing about consulting is that it's non-limiting. I can do anything. It's an umbrella. I can help people start their own food business, or I can help develop products, or I can do research, or I can do activism or policy work. There's just an umbrella of everything that I could do.
Sky is the limit.
The sky is really the limit.
The truth is kind of the limit, of course.
Yeah. We got about a minute.
So give yourselves a website or contact information in where people can find you and basically contact you for the purchase of your business and contact you for obviously you're going to be by yourself here in this location, correct? So you're looking for a new space vendor with you, or not? You
I'm
just
not looking
want-
for anything.
Okay, so not looking for anything.
No.
Forget that. Scratch that. So where can they find you? Where can they find Marco? Where can they find you? And your
Instagram.
website? Yeah.
Whatever.
Social media outlets.
KlevRT.com. Email is marco@klevrt.com. And if you just Google Klevr Tea here in El Paso, it'll take you to the store. And
several pop-ups. So El Paso community, you can find Marco this Sunday at Easterpalooza at the Cielo Vista Farmers Market, located adjacent in the Cielo Vista Food Court. From 1 to 5, you'll be able to find him. Will you be with us?
I will.
Oh, and Josh will be with us. Wow, I just got informed about that too. So, Josh, would you let them know where they can find you as well?
Instagram and everything, Facebook, whatever.
Everything. So you can find us at 230 North Copia in El Paso, Texas, in Central El Paso. You can find us at our website at epfreezedried.com, or you can find us on Instagram at epfreezedried, which has a link to our website there. You can also find us in different stores around El Paso, and actually we also sell our stuff at the Space Museum in Alamogordo.
That
So,
is super cool.
Visit
I
your
know
local
that.
Space Museum.
You can't find our stuff there, but you can find his there.
You can also find some of our stuff at the
why,
Brown
Josh? Because that is what Mexican astronauts.
It is. This is what Mexican astronauts eat. Chamoy, freeze-dried Skittles, and freeze-dried mango with chile. That's
So
what
sh-
Mexican astronauts eat.
So should it be like a Hispanic, snack, or just technically
Oh.
Mexican?
We're inclusive. I say everyone must enjoy it because they're that good. They're that good. Everyone's gonna like them. Even if people don't like them, they're gonna like
They're
them.
gonna like them.
That's
They're
how
gonna
good they
like
are.
them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to our podcast. We really appreciate you all
Thank you for having
for the
us.
semantics that we went through today.
Likewise.
And we look forward to having you up in the future and find out what you all are up to. And we will see you on Sunday.
Yay.
We want to see you guys on Sunday. We want
Come
you
and see
guys
us.
seeing these guys.
Yes, and come and
Yeah.
try. You have to see Marco with his, little hat, and obviously, Josh.
You have a hat too, don't you?
I should get one.
He'll have one. He'll have one on Sunday.
You can see his freeze dried of everything, candy and all.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Hybrid Haze. Frank
Everything
and Mel,
green,
everything
Frank
green,
and Mel.
and these are our green buddies.
Take care,
Till
guys.
next
Thank you for listening to Hybrid Haze Podcast with Mel and Frank. And you can follow them on Facebook at Modern Needs, MODERNKNEADS, and on Instagram at Modern Needs Apothecary. That's Modern Needs Apothecary.